TFI.
Yeah, okay, ready? Hi everyone, welcome back to the second podcast episode of Ivy Off Script. Today we have Cristian Dominguez.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. So, Cristian, give us a brief recap of your life so far. What do you want to tell the viewer?
Oh, wow.
Just a small question to start off.
My name is Cristian Dominguez. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I was involved in the public school system there. I'm not a private school kind of person. And yeah, that's just my life. I mean, I came to Harvard the first time when I came to visit us, so it was like my first time in the Northeast, so okay. I'm just that Texas girl, as you see by the boots.
Yeah. How do you feel like growing up in Texas has contributed to your identity?
It was very unique because San Antonio is a very like Hispanic and diverse city, which is good. It's very liberal. A lot of people wouldn't expect that for Texas. But there was like a large Hispanic population where I lived, and I am Hispanic, even though I'm very, very pale, very pale, I swear. So it was good growing up and kind of tapping into that. However, I did go to like a predominantly white elementary and middle school. It changed high school, but like most of my life I was around white people, and so I felt like kind of torn with this identity, even growing up in Texas. And then on top of that, being gay. And I was pretty openly gay in high school, so it was just, like, difficult to navigate that. Like, all these little communities, like, pulling me in different directions. It was weird.
Yeah, I think, well, knowing you now, for context, Cristian and I met the first day of orientation. So we were both part of FIRE, which is the first year retreat experience for first gen and or low income students coming to Harvard. And I remember my first impression was that you felt very comfortable and confident. So would you describe yourself as that going into high school?
Going into high school, definitely less so. And the confidence and comfortability, I say, I don't know, I was still just like trying to figure myself out. And I was like, it was COVID. We were like, what, 13, 14, going
15,
into 15? Yeah. So definitely not as confident as I was when you first met me. I felt like after that summer leaving high school, like, is when I was like, okay, like, time to get into the real deal with this, like, college stuff. And so I was like, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna be her. And then FIRE happened, and then I met Amelia, and it was amazing. So,
yeah. Well, we just skipped a really big period of time, right?
Well,
There's like 4 years of high school. And can you walk me through that transformation first year of high school to senior year of high school?
Sure. So first year of high school, was online. I mainly had like a small group of friends that are coming with me from middle school and that I kept in contact with over COVID. And then like throughout high school, I'd say like I became more and more comfortable with myself. In middle school, if you asked me if I was gay, I'd be like, oh, absolutely not. Like I am straight, I am bisexual even, but it was never gay. And then like I kind of started feeling comfortable with that in high school. It was kind of interesting though because I felt like I had a whole different personality in school versus at home. I was not out to my family at the time. And so it's just like weird having this like not even double life, because I hate to say double life in regards to like my sexuality and who I am, but it was like I was presenting myself in different ways to different people. And so it was very interesting. But then I started like being more confident with that part of myself and then tapping into, you know, academics, extracurriculars. I was a big orchestra kid. Don't clown me.
That's crazy because is that part of your Harvard identity at all?
Not at all, actually. But it was like I would say my main thing in high school. Yeah.
Bro, I remember one day, I forgot the context of this, but you pull up this video where you're leading the fucking orchestra. Like, you're actually leading, like, I don't know where I think you were at the front, right? Or...
Well, yeah, front.
Wait, you were actually front and center, right?
Yeah, I was,
Wait, talk about that, because that's so interesting, considering that Cristian is so humble about that, and you'll never know this about it.
Well, I was decent. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was, like, crazy freaking crack, but, yeah, in high school, I was part of, like, orchestra. First year, it was different. I got snubbed for varsity, and we will talk
Wait, there was
that.
JV and varsity orchestra?
There was, like, freshman, JV, varsity. But then freshman year, because it was COVID, they combined freshman and JV, so it was, like, a big orchestra of, like, oh my gosh, like 100 kids. And so I was the concertmaster for that my freshman year. And then I moved up to varsity. I was not concertmaster the next 2 years because there was one of my close friends, actually, Seva, shout out to you. She was an iconic queen and was first chair, like one of the best in the state. And so she was there and she was a good mentor in my life. And then senior years when I like not overtook her, but she left because she was a year older. And so I, took up charge. And then it was interesting because the previous year, we had submitted a recording of our orchestra to go to this clinic in Chicago called Midwest. It's an international like orchestra convention. If you're like tapped into orchestra and band, I feel like you would know about it. And so we submitted a recording, just like a shot in the dark, and we got accepted. And so we were asked to perform. We were like one of like 6 high schools or something like that like performed there. And then I was the concertmaster, and then I was like a solo violinist there. There's a lot of solo performances with like my cello principal, shout out Patricia. Like, yeah, but I feel like that was like one of the most insane moments of my life because it was like, wow, I'm actually performing at this like international thing, and like orchestra was such like a tie to my life since like 5th grade, so it was like definitely like a wholesome moment. And at that point, college apps or nothing like that had come out, so I was like, I didn't even know where my life was going. So
Okay, wow. Okay, that's a
let's
lot.
unpack that.
Yeah, okay. So you got into, well, what, did you play the violin?
Yes.
Okay. Just imagine Christian playing the violin. Like, I could see that. Yeah, but, so you got into this in 5th grade.
Yes.
Was it something that a family member signed you up for, or you were like, oh, I really want to learn the violin?
It was more so my friends at the time. I had this close friend named Andy, and she convinced me to like join the after-school orchestra program. Because in elementary school when I first joined, it was just like an after-school kind of club thing. And then in middle school, it became like integrated into the course schedule, so like you could actually have a period of orchestra. And so yeah, she convinced me to, and then she played violin, I played violin, and it was like, we kikied. But she ended up moving to Wisconsin. So
she was out pretty soon.
She was out pretty soon, yeah. I don't know if she plays violin. So.
How do you feel like music has played a role in those developmental stages of your life?
I definitely use music as like an escape-ish from life. The same year that I started playing before this event happened, but after like is when I really tapped in. In 5th grade, my mom passed away when I was 10, and so I was already kind of getting into that realm of music, so I used that and kind of like went with it, and then like in middle school definitely started practicing more and getting good, and then by high school I was like more confident in my abilities and like was doing competitions and all that kind of stuff with like UIL, which is a Texas thing. Your Texas people are watching, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you like you found your community through the orchestra, or was it just like, oh, like that's my group because I need people to play with?
At first, it was the second, where it was like, well, I just need to play.
This is the clan I was stuck with, okay.
Yeah. But then in high school, like, the friends that I made through orchestra are still some of my closest friends that I consistently talk to when I go back home. So definitely I found my place. Like, they were very welcoming, and it's like, it was a very different experience than I was used to at my high school, because it was a public school, very conservative, I would say. So it was like, I was able to like escape that like with the orchestra kids, which sounds so funny now saying it, but like it was like a more accepting space than I was used to. And so I definitely do appreciate the people I met through orchestra.
And so something that started recreational then became competitive. Did that pressure ever get to you?
Honestly, yes. And it's something that I like have examples of even more recently, where it's like something I try to do for like leisure turned into competitiveness, which then I like completely rejected it. That's what happened with orchestra, which is why I don't play in any of the orchestras here in at Harvard, because it was just like a lot of pressure was put on me, especially senior year. While it was like a very like, oh my gosh, like this is iconic, this is like a good moment in my life, peak senior year. After Midwest, I was like burnt out and I just did not want to do it anymore. So I actually quit my high school orchestra for a couple days. And then like one day I woke up to like text all on my phone from my orchestra friends, and they were outside my house. They were outside my house. They broke into my home. Okay, they didn't break in, but my grandma let them in. I live with my grandma.
Oh my
And she let them in, and they're in my room, and I was sleeping in my underwear at the time, and I was like, what the? Oh my gosh. And they came to convince me to rejoin, and so I did.
Oh, well, if they're like at your house,
yeah, I was like, okay,
like, no, I'm not going back. Wait,
like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that just shows the strength of the community you found.
Wait, yeah, they were like really determined, and like I impacted a lot of people, and they impacted me, so it was like, yeah, it was definitely a good community. And it's very similar to, I might read some volleyball people, but it's very similar to how I feel with volleyball here at Harvard. I joined the club team, and it was my first time like ever playing kind of competitively because they go to tournaments and stuff. Like they went to Dartmouth the other day. And so it was like a recreational activity that turned competitive, and I didn't really like that, and so I kind of stopped going to practice. Ooh. Yeah.
I feel like I feel the same way with similar extracurricular activities in my life, where growing up I really enjoyed basketball, but then it got really competitive, and then my love for it stopped. And the same thing with chess. I would get panic attacks at chess tournaments.
It's stressful. Chess
Right, it gets stressful. And I don't know, it's something that I've been reflecting on a lot, because I think when it comes to like business ideas and activities that I have, like even with this podcast, I don't want that fear of failure to stop me from going all the way with it. So I feel in a very similar way, where I look back at things that I've done and I'm like, oh, like I understand why I stopped, but it's because also like self-internalized pressure. Like realistically,
right?
No one cares.
Like no one. At the end of the day, no one cares what
it's
you're
gonna be
doing.
Okay.
Like yeah.
No, but I relate to that, and I think going back, so you talk about your LGBTQ plus identity. Yes. You were like leading this orchestra. Bro, he showed me this video from a competition. He's at the front, 100 people behind him. It's insane. Like, props to you.
Thanks.
What would you say were the main elements of your application to Harvard?
I would say, funnily enough, orchestra was a big one. I think my personal story, and then my interview was really good. And then, okay, I'm like basically everything, but like the interview was good. I think it was like really representative of who I am. There's only so much you can gather through like supplemental essays and that, and I tried to put as much of myself in it that I could, and that's one of the reasons I think I got into here, because compared to my other apps to literally only 3 other schools.
Wait, okay, let's go back to that. So you applied to how many schools?
So I actually applied to 5, not 3, 5. That's fine. It was UT Austin, which was auto acceptance, because if you're in Texas, it's like the top 6% of all schools, or public schools, I think just all schools in general, get auto accepted to UT. Then Harvard, hi. MIT, Northeastern, I really wanted to be in Boston. So I feel like that's how I'm approaching also like the future of my life, is like, I know I want to be in New York, shout out New York. So I'm like, I'm just going to apply to a bunch of jobs in New York. So I was like I was like that with college. So I was like, I'm just going to apply to a bunch of Boston schools, because Boston was like so fun to me. And then Stanford. And then Stanford.
Okay,
and those were the 5.
Let's talk about how crazy that is. If you're not in the US, college admissions are super competitive. It's crazy, the system. And so you already had acceptance since you used UT Austin, right?
Yes, that came out like earlier. Like
did you
February.
get into the program you wanted to get into?
No, I did not.
Which was what program?
Bioengineering or biomedical engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got rejected from that program.
Yes, but I was still like at the school.
Yeah.
And I like to convince myself that had I gone to that school, I would have been able to switch into biomedical engineering. But yeah, so actually I was not accepted to the program I wanted.
So you're basically partially rejected from UT Austin.
Well, yes.
And then the other 3 schools besides, so it's Harvard, 3% acceptance rate, MIT probably 3.1% acceptance rate, then Stanford, I don't know, but very low acceptance rate, and then Northeastern, which also has a very low acceptance rate, but I would say it's a kind of unusual school.
A little higher. It's like 6.
Yeah, 6%. 6%. Fun fact, I applied to over 20 schools. The only school I ever got rejected from was Northeastern.
Wow.
Like a flat out rejection. Wow. Like other schools I got waitlisted from, like accepted, whatever. Bro, same. I got waitlisted, deferred and then rejected.
And then rejected.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, so you got waitlisted from Northeastern. MIT.
No.
No, they didn't want you? Okay.
They didn't want me. Stanford didn't want me.
Stanford.
UT really didn't even want me at the end of the day. And so then Harvard came out, and it was the last one to come out. And
talk to us about where and how you opened it up.
I was at a Chili's with my 2 very, very close friends, Ceci and Sapphire. And
I love their names.
Yeah, iconic names. And I don't know, we were just like vibing. We would like get Chili's like at least once a month, like because we love those triple dippers. And I remember that day, people had reminded me, because some people knew that I was applying to Harvard. Harvard was the only Ivy I applied to. And so they knew. And so that day, people had reminded me that it was Ivy Day. And to me, I didn't really didn't know what that was being like the first person in my immediate family to go to college, I was like, what does that even mean? And so I was like, Ivy Day, whatever. So I was like, okay, Harvard's coming out. Like, perfect. After school, I went and took a fat nap. I was like so tired for some reason. And then I woke up right before I was supposed to go to Chili's with my friends. So I didn't have time to like open the application. But like it had come out in the period I was asleep. And so I just went, and obviously, you know, you get demotivated by like not so many rejections, because granted it was like 3.5, but it's like, okay, like I wasn't expecting much. And so
But like if Northeastern doesn't take you, you
like,
automatically think,
like
why would Harvard
yeah.
take me?
And so I was at the Chili's, and I like bring out my phone just because I'm like, okay, like.
You're like, 1 second.
Yeah, 1 second. I couldn't find the email at first.
You're
it was
like
yeah, I was like, oh, they didn't even bother sending me.
It's like they just knew that,
like,
yeah,
wow.
I was out.
And so I'm like scrolling, whatever, and then I go to like my promotions tab in my Gmail, and it was there. It was like an update or a status update to your application
like,
portal or something.
Exactly, I remember that.
And I was like, okay, bet. So I tapped it, logged in, clicked it, then the confetti popped up. Congratulations. Oh my god. I like stand up, show my phone. I want to get like the CCTV footage of the Chili's, because I like stood up, showed my phone. I even told the freaking waitress. I was like, this is crazy. And then I went outside and called like my close family members and told them.
Were you shaking?
Yes, I was shaking. I remember the drive home, which mind you was like 5 minutes. I was like, oh my god, like, is this real? Like, I can't even drive right now because I'm so like,
yeah.
Wow. It was very powerful. And then I saved telling my grandma, who I live with and is like the main figure in my life. I waited till in person to tell her. And there's a video of me telling her, actually.
And what was her reaction?
She was very happy, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. No, like, getting into Harvard, especially when you don't even expect it. Like, for me, for Ivy Day, people were telling me, oh, it's Ivy Day. And I was like, what? And I had applied to a few Ivy schools. But in my mind, there was no expectation I was getting in. And at that point, I didn't care about going to an Ivy League school. I just wanted to go to school for free. I just wanted to get a merit scholarship. So I was like, okay, I have those lined up. Like, I'm just going to go to that.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually like words can't describe. So I can't imagine what you felt being in a freaking Chili's and you're like, oh my god. Like,
the people around me were like,
they're like, what is this kid doing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then you go into school the next week. What are people's reactions?
I feel like I was a very polarizing figure at my high school.
Unpack that. What does that mean?
And we'll get into it. So I remember it like it was yesterday. So it was like a 3-day weekend after that. So I opened it and like I had nothing to do. And so I was like, I wanted to wait to tell my teachers, obviously, because they helped and wrote my recommendation letters. And so that entire weekend, it was just me kind of telling my family. And it stayed within the family, which is good. Like it didn't really get around. And so it was like Monday, I think, or like whatever day it was, either it was Monday or Tuesday, I forget which one was the 3-day of the weekend. I went in the morning and told all my teachers, and they were very happy. And then like I waited until Visitas to actually tell anyone else.
Which is
besides
mid-April, so that's like
mid-April.
2 weeks after.
Yeah, so I waited a couple weeks. I just really wanted my teachers and family to know, because I knew some things are about to happen. And so I come to Visitas, which is like our admitted students weekend, and I fly up, take some fire pictures, and then post it on my Instagram, just like
And these are not like just cute. No, like he's like a baddie. He's posing for the camera, getting the angles right. Yeah.
Like Harvard, my acceptance letter, and I remember I posted it during lunchtime back home because I knew everyone was going to be in the cafeteria because it was during a school day. It was on that Monday. And so I posted it, and like text started rolling in, whatever, like it was fun. Like the people that I consider friends, like, were obviously very happy. And the way I say polarizing is because like either people were very happy I got into Harvard, or they didn't think I deserved it because I was gay in Texas in this public school, and they like always try to discredit like my accomplishments, and they didn't think I was that smart or whatever, because I mean, girl, I was taking all those AP classes, whatever, like, don't play. They were just never part of that side of my life. And I was never, like, extrovertedly, like, talking about academics, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, it was always, like, on the back burner, like, yeah, I did well in school, but it's, like, that's not who makes me who I am, you know? So I never tell people about that.
I think the biggest misconception is that Harvard students always have top-tier grades. Like, I think that's one way to get your, like, foot in the door, but anyone across the U.S. can do that, right? Mm-hmm. Beyond the 1,600 students who are admitted. And there's so much like other layers that Harvard tries to go into. That being said, like it's obviously subjective, so it doesn't mean like they made the right choice by like accepting or rejecting people. Yeah, wait, so what was your reputation beyond just the students with the teachers?
Oh, the teachers loved me. Yeah. I was like not a teacher's pet because I wouldn't like suck up to them, but I was just like very, and by the point of high school where I was more confident in myself, I was just very, you know, like out there, extroverted, like very sociable. So they liked me. They liked I was always like on time, never turned in my shit late. Like, so I was just like, I was a good student. So they liked me.
Yeah. And were you like very extroverted, like socially in high school?
Yes. I would say so. Okay. Like I didn't let the opinions of other people like hinder how I like reacted and communicated to the environment around me. You know, I was still like out there, putting myself out there, talking to everyone I could. So.
Okay. And so going from a big public school in Texas to Harvard, which is like a small liberal arts college in Boston, not in the South.
Yes.
What was that transition like?
It was crazy. I remember my first night here, like actual move-in. My stepmom and my aunt joined me to like help me move my stuff in because I flew. And then once they left, it was very like surreal. I was like, this is actually happening, and I was like, my body kind of shut down because I'm like, I don't know if I can handle this. It is so different, like, from the world I've known. So I literally, like, cried myself to sleep that night. It was insane. And then I remember I woke up and I was like, okay, let's get to work. And then we met that day after I locked in because I'm like, I can't be unconfident. Like, this isn't who I am. And so, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I mean, for me, I'm thinking about my memory of you, and when I met you, it didn't seem like you just woke up from crying the night before.
Yeah.
And I guess what was the biggest identity shift that happened coming into Harvard?
I would say, like, I was out back home at school in a way that I would definitely am not here. My style has evolved.
Oh, he's heavily. Always eating. Like, look at this outfit. This is just one piece.
I went all black. I was like, let's do like an all black kind of vibe. So just like being more like visibly and physically LGBTQ plus, definitely is the way that it shifted for me, and also just like being unafraid to talk to anybody. Cause like back in high school, I knew who I could and couldn't talk to. Here, I'm talking to you, unfortunately, for you. So yeah. So that was the biggest switch, I would say.
Okay, and I guess during that first week when you were meeting a bunch of people, and also this fire was so accepting of all communities.
Yes.
Like, I think we literally had, like, one night where, like, people in a circle were talking about how they knew that they were, like, gay, bisexual, whatever, like, when they came out. So I just, my experience with that, I mean, it's just people were very open from the get-go. Was that surprising to you?
Yes, it was so surprising. I remember coming into Harvard thinking, like, everyone was gonna be, like, closed off and, like, locked in and just, like, no communication outside whatsoever. And it was definitely not like that at all. Like, everyone was very open. To this day, like, it's a very collaborative school. It's, like, you know, we're not afraid to talk about, like, our grades, how we think we did on classes. I feel like when I came in, I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna, like, you know, like hide.
It's gonna be like
hide their notes or like not want to study with you or whatever. But it's nothing like that at all. It's like it's very open and everyone's more social than I expected, which is good. And I guess I should have expected it because like, if they're accepting people like me and you after fire, it's like, well, I should expect more people to also be pretty social.
Right. I think that's why what motivated me to start this podcast is because people have this like misconception of what Harvard students are like, what the environment is like. And I remember even coming into Harvard, I was asking one of the students, are Harvard students competitive? Because I'm, you know, internally very anxious when it comes to like competition. And I remember she told me they're not competitive against their peers, but against themselves. I think that's very true.
I feel like I would agree with that as well. Like, it's like an intrinsic kind of competitiveness and motivation to do well. But like, I'm not putting myself against other people here. And I feel like other people aren't doing the same thing. Although, with those grade changes, you never know.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, obviously I disagree. Like,
yeah,
with
well,
that.
we can first start off by saying that there are proposals from the administration to do like grade caps, just because I think there is another stereotype that Harvard has grade inflation, and so they're trying to combat that by saying only 20% of students should get A's, and then it obviously varies based on class size, so on and so forth. And I think the fear amongst Harvard students is that it'll make people more competitive because all of a sudden, instead of thinking, oh, like we can both get A's, it's thinking,
it's either me or you.
Yeah, it's either me or you, so we have to choose, like,
So we have
who's
to
gonna get
choose.
it.
Wait, yeah, and it's crazy to me because I'm like, girl, I'm looking for the grade inflation. I cannot find it.
Yeah, wait, tell me about your experience in STEM classes, because you take, like, really advanced classes. First of all, what is it like transitioning from your public high school into these type of academics, and what the grade inflation is like in those classes, if it's there?
So I'm bioengineering here at Harvard, so I am taking a lot of STEM classes, especially this semester is like my very STEM heavy kind of course schedule. Coming into Harvard, I was scared that it was going to be crazily different, but honestly, the transition was easier than I expected because like I think I had a strong foundation even within school, because at the end of the day, like I feel like public and private schools can each prepare you like in the same way for college life, because it's going to be different no matter where you come from. And so I was able to adjust well. And sorry, wait, well, there was another part to the question.
The grade inflation, do you think it's true?
Oh, the grade inflation, do I think it's true? For STEM, no. I really could not tell you about other departments, aside from like the college requirements like gen eds and stuff. But I feel like for STEM, no, especially in pre-med classes, because my concentration overlaps with a lot of like people doing pre-med, and so I would be in those classes, and it's already highly competitive because there's already that mindset with pre-med, like it's either me or you when it comes to like Harvard Medical or like the top like med schools that people want to get into. And so I don't think the grade inflation thing applies to STEM, and I think that this policy will like make pre-med kids even crazier when it comes to like, you know, like really like going hard on themselves, because as we said, they don't really go hard on other people, it's just like themselves. So it's like I'm kind of fearful for the pre-meds.
Yeah.
Keep them in your hearts. Keep them in
Yeah, I can only imagine. I think this semester I've put academics in the back burner. Not in the way where I'm like failing out of my classes. I think I'm still doing relatively well. But I think for me, I'm very interested in like entrepreneurship, and my next steps after college aren't going to grad school, but I can only imagine how stressful it is, especially because I feel like academics are kind of out of your control depending on who your teaching fellow is, depending on what section you're put into, and other factors like test anxiety, whatever. I guess this conversation sparked my interest in where do you see yourself after college, especially doing bioengineering.
Okay. And I'll answer that question. You bring up a good point about like how you said you kind of not put academics on the back burner, but that's not really your top priority. And that's one of the things that I love about this school is that like a lot of people are in similar boats where they're like, honestly, like my top priority is this like club or this club, like that's like more geared to what they actually want to do in their future rather than the grade aspect. And I do enjoy that about this school, and I think the policy will change it. They're trying to recenter academics, which can be good but also can be bad for people that like that's not a priority of yours, you know?
Yeah, I think for like my mindset with academics is it can only get you so far. So I graduated valedictorian in my high school, right? And that was gratifying, yes, but to a certain extent it's not something that's going to generate income or like leave an impact on other people. And I think for me, I just see myself in the future working on things that like merge, building passive income while also creating an impact and having my name on it. And I feel like with academics, I enjoy what I can get from it, but I think killing myself over an A is not something I would do anymore. And that's coming from someone who was like so focused on academics in high school. Like I would cry over 95.
Oh, wow.
Like it was crazy. Now I'm just like an A-. Okay.
It is what it
Life
is.
moves on.
And
But yeah,
life moves on.
going back to your post-grad plans.
Oh yes, post-grad plans.
And that's totally okay also if you don't like have a clear-cut answer.
I really don't, and I was gonna talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. No, not with my life, but like, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing post-grad. I know I'm not pre-med. I was never on the pre-med track. I like bounced around the idea of like an MBA, PhD kind of with bioengineering, because I think at the end of the day, somehow, some way, I'm going to live in New York City.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I'm going-
He literally is New York City
going
in
to
a
live
body.
in
It's
New
crazy.
Like I have to be there. I'm sorry. And I want to like do something within business. It could be biotech business, that kind of stuff. I could like do a complete shift and like go into like other stuff that New York has to offer. I don't know about finance really, because the recruiting process here is crazy. You're already late if you
Oh
are thinking
yeah,
about it.
like
you're
basically
already...
for finance, you have to start recruiting sophomore fall, and even then, like you have to know basically by your first year if you're interested.
Yeah. So like, sorry, too late for that.
You're like, okay, well that
what?
bonus passed.
And there you go. So yeah, something like that. I definitely want to go into business. I'd say like MBA, like a master's in business would be like a route I could still see myself taking for sure. And then like straight to, working in New York or another city, which may be fun. I'm closing myself off. But like, yeah.
I guess talk to me about your first experience in New York City. Did it happen over the past summer?
Yes, it did. My first time in New York ever was this past summer. I was in Boston over summer. And so we went to New York, me and the people I was rooming with, and you were there. You met up with us. And it was like I had this alluring mindset towards New York. And so I was just hoping like that I didn't like have my expectations or dreams crushed and it's like a disgusting city that I'd never go to ever again.
You're like, oh,
I'm like, oh, but it was definitely not the case, and I like fell in love with it, and I was like, I need to be here. I fear, and like all the people I know in New York, and the Harvard to New York pipeline is real, so it's like a lot of people are just gonna be moving there anyway, so it's like I can see myself here.
Yeah, I think especially at Harvard, everyone wants to find a job in a big city, which is very real.
Yeah.
I want to go back to New York City, and I lived there my entire life.
I know that's good.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about the city if you're willing to go back, because I'm not going back to San Antonio. I fear.
Yeah, well, I think for me, I always really liked being in a big city. I would say my first year at Harvard, I actually didn't want to go back home.
Really?
Like, I loved this, like, kind of, like, urban area. Kind of. Compared to New York City, you really can't say there's any comparison.
Like Cambridge?
I liked it. But then staying here the entire summer made me think, like, no. Like, this is not for me. Were there any parts of, like, your expectations about New York City that were crushed by your experience?
That were crushed.
Or was everything like, wow, this is getting better?
It's getting better, although, like, the realisticness of it not crushed me, but, like, if anything, it motivated me further, because, like, okay, like, if I actually want to live here and, like, live, like, a lifestyle that I want in the city, which is bougie, like, fashion, high fashion, I would have to lock in. And so it was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna get crushed, but it's like, this is, like, a dream that's achievable, but I'm gonna have to work hard.
Well, when you came, you were on the Upper East Side, right?
Yes, yeah. I saw a part of the city that, like...
Well, you saw one of the most affluent neighborhoods, probably, like, one of the richest zip codes in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I think...
Beautiful. It was amazing.
Yeah, so you saw, like, the best part of New York City, like, the glamorous part of it, that was, like, residential at the same time. So could you see yourself living there very long term, or is it just, like, a 20s type of moment?
Had I not gone to Upper East Side, I would not have been able to see myself, like, settling down and, like, retiring there. But, like, knowing that they're all obviously very expensive, but, like, these nice apartments that you can live in for the rest of your life, because that's a very, like, not elderly, but, like, it's a lot of an older population there. Like, I was walking around the street one day just going to get, like, Starbucks, and I was like, everyone here is, like, kind of old.
It's like, wait a second, did we, like, what's
So
going on?
while I may not be starting in the Upper East Side, I think I could settle down and, like, find my way in New York City. I could live there. I could live in a city for sure.
But it doesn't sound like you would want to do something, like, I guess with your MBA degree or, like, going into business, would it relate back to what you're studying now for bioengineering?
Most likely, because at the end of the day, like, I am taking these classes, and I do need to utilize, like, what I've learned here at school, and I think I've learned a lot through my STEM classes, so I would probably try to integrate as much of bioengineering and the STEM side with, my I would say I'm a pretty social, like, my social, like, just, like, community kind of aspect. So it's, like, something that can, like, merge the two, or that I feel, like, satisfied and, like, I'm helping people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were, like, think back to, I guess, when you were 10, could you imagine yourself in the position you are now?
Absolutely. Yes, I could. When I was 10, I was like,
yeah, that was me.
I was like, I'm destined for fame or something. I don't know. I just, like, even at a young age, I was like, I felt like not saying, like, if you don't go to Harvard, it's more. Because I was like, I meant for more, but it's like, I meant for more than what I was used to. I knew that my life was gonna go in a crazy direction, and I don't know why. And then when it did, obviously I was surprised, but I was like, well, yes. Well, yes.
Yeah, but then you assimilated and you were like,
yeah.
going back to that first night, you're like, oh my god, this is scary. But then you were like, oh wait, it's time to actually just lock in because this is what is
This is, yeah.
During your first months here, did you experience imposter syndrome?
No. To this day, I've never felt out of place. Like, I feel like there's a space for every type of person at the school. And, like, I fit, like, right in there.
You're, like, my little nook. Like,
yeah, I'm like my little nook. I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, have you?
I mean, there were times when I was doing PSATs, which are basically, like, weekly homework assigned from classes that are graded, that I was like, I can't do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very different from high school, where I would learn the material every day, go home, apply it, and then be like, okay, like, I can figure it out. But now it's like, I need someone, like, holding my hand and walking me through it. I don't think it was, but then I realized it wasn't really a reflection of my intelligence or abilities. I think it was just how the system is kind of set up here. I think when I got into Harvard, I was actually debating going or not, because not that my parents would ever let, and also immensely I knew that I was going here, right? Like, my reaction to it, my family's reaction was like, no brainer, I'm going here. But I think at one point I was like, what if I go and I'm like failing out of classes, or everyone's just like so different from me? And that's coming from someone who's from New York City. So it I don't know. I don't know why I felt that way, because I came from like the East Coast as well, from a competitive high school. But I think ever since I came here, I think I found my community right away. Like, I think meeting you and Alyssa, who was our first podcast guest.
Also from San Antonio.
Yeah, I feel so blessed, because I think your college experience, your experience anywhere, is shaped by the people you're around. And I remember, like, my first months, I was like, oh my gosh, I have friends. I didn't really have friends in high school, like, really close friends. And that's the tea, guys. I didn't have friends. But I was surprised that I could come to a school like Harvard and find people I really connected with from the get-go. Like, it was never hard for me to find friends.
That's good.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, it's not difficult to make, like, genuine connections here, I would say. Yeah. You can make disingenuous connections. I would say that's part bad luck, but also can be intentional. Like, if you're looking for people to climb a social ladder, like, there are people that sometimes we call, like, social climbers. I've heard that term being used, but I think it is true. I mean, not just at Harvard, but anywhere. You think, oh, like, this person will get me ahead in this club or this, like, finance career. And I think you have to go into conversations with the intention of, like, getting to know them. I think that's just generally in life. You can't look at people, how are they going to help you? It's like, how can we just connect? You have to want to make, like, a genuine connection with people, which is easy and impossible at Harvard.
Do you feel like your friend group has evolved from your first year to now?
Oh, for sure. I was close with my block.
Your blocking group.
My blocking, yeah. We make, like, blocking groups freshman year, and basically you just are guaranteed the same housing sophomore year, because you move into your houses. And so that was, like, my main core friend group. Then we had, like, proxy block people, like Amelia, Juliana, Anisha. Also, I'm naming New York City people.
They're all the New York City people. New York City.
So it was, like, that was my group. And then sophomore year, now that you're in houses, the entire, like, social scene kind of opens up, and it's, like, a world, like, unlike any, like, I've seen before. And so it was good tapping into that. And so it definitely has evolved. And I met so many people last semester. I'm continuing to meet so many people this semester. It's like, once you're a sophomore, you're kind of part of, like, the rest. It's literally like freshman, you're segregated, and then sophomore, junior, senior, it's like one big thing.
I can't lie, I actually like that though. Like, when you're first year, you just connect with other people who are also new. And then once you're a sophomore, they're like, you're upperclassmen, figure it out, kind of to the vibe. And wait, talk to me about your process with social activities in the social scene sophomore year.
Sophomore year, it was just, like, a lot of, like, how do I word this? It was just a lot of meeting. Okay. Sophomore year was just, like, a lot of, meeting new people. You're kind of forced into the houses, then other, like, social aspects go on, like club, comp, and all that's, like, picks up again. And so you're just, like, finding new areas that you can fit into within Harvard. I feel like every semester I'm probably gonna, like, look for different things I can do just to, like, expand my outreach, you know? And so it's like, just constantly meeting more people. And it's kind of forced sophomore, junior, senior, because, like, all right, you go to the school, figure it out, like, connect with older people, like, you kind of like want like older mentors now because you're not almost, we're not even halfway done.
Yeah.
But like you're about to like graduate.
Right, you
like,
can
pretty
see
quickly.
the future because
Yeah.
I feel like for me, something I was talking with Alyssa about in the last episode was even for me, I'm thinking, okay, in 2 weeks, spring break. Then 4 weeks later, finals. Then I'm done, thank God. Then junior year, like I keep speeding up the process, which can be good and bad. Like good when I'm like, I don't want to be here forever, and bad when I'm like, wait, I really enjoy my time here. But that being said, I'm just wondering, what has been your best semester so far? Given you've only completed 3 semesters, what was like the best energy? It was giving main character moment. You were loving it. I know my answer.
Every semester here has been so good. PR answer. I would say
Speak your truth though, if you feel that way.
sophomore fall. Last semester was so fun and so crazy and like
Wow.
holy. And my life, like, I think of my life in like many segments. The first main segment's like before Harvard, BH. Like I can't even think about that life.
It's like the first 19 years of your life, don't know where that went.
I don't know what happened because there's like a before Harvard and after Harvard, and then honestly, it's like a mini segment's like before sophomore fall and after sophomore fall. Like yeah, it was like a very big point.
So it went from like age 0 to 19, then first year of Harvard, then beyond, which is like 6 months after, basically.
Honestly, yeah. But first year Harvard's like something special that like
it is.
First year college in general is like.
It's a very big transition.
It's crazy.
But I feel the same way where I can't picture life before Harvard.
No. I was like, was I actually like in that school doing these things?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Could someone pay you enough to go back to that?
Oh, absolutely not. Well, like a Billy.
Maybe a Billy,
A Billy I could go back. But like, realistically, no. I would never like, and I would never, choose my life to go any other way.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going pretty good so far.
Yeah. No, I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I look back at photos and I'm like, wow, my life kind of sucked before Harvard.
I know, I was like, wow, I was so lame. So boring.
I think for me, it was like I was hustling a lot and working hard, but there was no vision in sight. Like I wasn't working hard thinking, I mean, I can imagine when you're like excelling in the violin orchestra, you weren't probably thinking, oh, Harvard's gonna look at this, right? You were just doing it because you're passionate and you have that drive. And I feel like similarly, the things I was doing, I was just very driven by the idea of like creating a name for myself or just being productive and like doing something with my life. But I feel like when I got into Harvard, it was like for the first time someone recognized that. It was like an actual reward beyond just someone telling me like, oh, you're so hardworking.
Yeah.
Do you feel similarly to that?
I do. Like, I definitely like back BH before Harvard. Yeah, it's kind of just like you're going through the motions. It's like you don't know where you'll end up. You're very young, and I don't think you should know where you're gonna end up. Honestly, like you should have an open mindset. So I was just doing things I enjoyed, that I knew I was good at, or that like were fun to me, which at the time was like violin and academics and all that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just. But now it's like I have a goal, and I see like my future, and it's like now things are a lot more possible than before. Like you have these dreams and aspirations before college, and then after college, after everyone's settled, like it's finally like, okay, like let's see how realistic this is. Like this could actually happen. And so it's like now I'm working. Now I do have a goal. Just New York City.
Wait, and that's a good goal. I think for me, having the Harvard name behind me kind of it gives me more confidence, honestly, because when people see that, they take you more seriously. That's just how it is. That's why it was so exciting getting in, not because oh my gosh, I see my water bottle cap at the anyways, I got distracted. Okay, but I think getting into Harvard made me, I think when I started working on new projects and ideas, I was like, I can use the status of being a Harvard student to kind of propel them forward. And I can also use the community that I have here. I don't say network because I think that's very like, I don't intentionally choose to talk to people thinking like, how can they get me ahead? But it's more like, I'm surrounded by people who are driven in their own ways, have other skills that can complement mine. Like, how can we make something work out?
Absolutely.
But it's so true. Like in high school, I didn't really know where my life was going either. I was applying to like random like business school departments thinking like, this might be good. I didn't. Yeah, but I think but that's so true. It's like you don't really understand extent that you can go until like now you're at such a big name. How would you say like
Especially
getting
now.
into Harvard has changed not only like your trajectory but also your family's?
I feel like my family always knew that I was like going to leave, and I saw bigger things for myself. Not saying that obviously like I love them, but it's just like I kind of was always like always wanted to be on my own and do my own thing and go against the grain because I just have to for some reason. That's who I am. And so after Harvard, like it kind of just like made them realize that, like, oh wow, yeah, this is like really happening. And although it's sad, they're very happy for me, and they still text me and tell me like, you know, how excited they are for what I have in store for my future. And obviously I'll go visit them all the time, but it's just like it's different. It was like a confirmation that like life is gonna look different for sure for me and for like the whole family dynamic, because I am the favorite in my family, unfortunately. Like, yeah. I'm like the very youngest.
Well, at this point, like, yeah, you're iconic, so of course. And from your high school, where did most of the students go to college? Were they going to like trade schools? Like, what did that look like?
I'd say like a lot went to college or trade school. A, a couple people went out of state. Most people stay in state, go to UT Austin, Texas A&M is a big one, Texas Tech, San Antonio College, UTSA too. So it's like most people stay there. Some I know, one of my close friends back home, Stella, went to like Oklahoma. I think someone went to Utah.
Any
that I
top
can't
tier
forget.
schools? Was that
Um,
typical?
Someone went to Rice.
Okay.
But no like Ivies or anything like that, except for me.
Wow. Had anyone in the previous years gotten into Harvard?
10 years before me was like a
Damn.
girl. There was a girl that got to Harvard, yeah.
Wow. So the teachers are like, wow, it's been a decade.
Literally,
They're
they're
like-
like, what the hell? But it's interesting because the year before me, there's actually a Dartmouth kid. He was committed for swimming. And then me, and then after I got in, and I'm pretty sure this is a good assumption to make, like, I think I motivated people to realize, like, it is possible to tap into these, like elitist, like, wealthy private Northeast schools, even if you're from, like, a public school in Texas and you don't think much of, you know, what you're doing, but, like, my school offered a lot of crazy things. Like, I went to Germany with my orchestra. We would go every 4 years. And so it's, like, there's still, like, cool things that we do. And so if you put it all on an app, like, you could get noticed. And I think I put this mindset into, like, the year below me. And so now we have, like, after me was, like, a Yale and Dartmouth kid. And I don't know about this year because regular decisions haven't come
Yeah.
out. But I imagine more. Maybe there might even be a Harvard. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah. What do you wish someone, I guess, who would you want to see this podcast episode, and what would you say to them?
Ooh. I would want people applying to colleges to see this and like feel like they can apply to Harvard and not be scared or like completely just like decline the idea that they could get there. Also, I would say people going through like a weird time in their life where they don't really know like where life is headed and they don't like see themselves anywhere, because honestly I'm still uncertain with where my life is going at this point, but it's like my mindset towards everything is just like you'll end up where you need to, you know. So I know I'm gonna end up where I always was meant to end up, you know. So it's just like
Which
I
is
hope
New
this
York
like
City.
just New York City. It happens to be New York City, unfortunately. Back to New York. So it's like, yeah, I just want to like motivate people to like, you don't always have to know what you're doing, and sometimes life will take you in crazy directions, and just go with the flow, honestly.
Yeah, I think back to my college application process. I put a list of schools together in mid-October, which is actually very late if you think about how ED, like early decisions, are due 1st of November. And I didn't go ED anywhere because I didn't think I could afford to just think, oh, like if they accept me, I'll just pay whatever,
Yeah.
you know, out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, you know, like you're seeing a lot of your friends get into schools or have that set up, and it wasn't until like one of the last days of March when we both found out that we got in.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of played the long game, like looking back at it, because it's like 2 years ago, I had no idea where I was going. But that being said, I think it's a good message, even even once you get into Harvard or if you get into the school of your dreams, like, I think people should embrace the unknowing part of it of, like, I don't know what's going to happen after that, and that's okay. Because there's power in that. I think when you have such a structured plan, it leads to a lot of disappointment because you can't connect the dots looking forward, right? You can only look back and be like, oh, it made sense that I got rejected from that, or someone turned me down, or that didn't work out because it led me on this different path.
Yeah.
And in high school, were there any rejections that you faced or things that went wrong that actually led you to where you are now? Or you were like, no, I got everything.
Yeah, I was like, in terms of like academics, like that was always fine. Well, maybe I could say like my SAT, I was dissatisfied, we'll say, with my first score. So then but I didn't let this like demotivate me, and I just like took it a bunch of times. Actually, like I signed up to take it again and didn't realize that it was like the coming weekend. Like I realized like on a random Tuesday that it was that weekend, and so I locked in and like raised my score by over 200 points.
What?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I was like, you know what? Okay. And then that's the score I submitted. And so it was like, it was just like crazy. I was like, so definitely had some rejections, but I never let it get to me. And I just like, was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing.
Wait, good for you. I think it's easy to get discouraged, especially if you come from like a competitive school. Like, for me, everyone's talking about the SAT. Everyone's talking about what they're doing. It's easy to lose vision of like what you can do yourself because you're thinking, oh my gosh, like they're so ahead. They're like naturally smarter than me. But it's refreshing to hear that someone who I think is very naturally smart with the classes you're taking, how you're like keeping on top of everything, how you increase your score by 200 points. Like, in a week.
It was necessary. It was a necessary evil. I had to.
But that's the story that I want to hear from people because that's inspiring. Like, you know, if someone comes here and they're like, yeah, I just scored 1550 on my first try, like,
it's like, okay,
well, that's the typical Harvard student that we all expected, you know, but it's nice to hear that someone started lower and they were like,
and who doesn't love a good like upbringing story or like a good like, I did that.
And then one last question, well, maybe not, we'll see, but we'll see. What was your personal statement about? Was it about chocolate milk?
The main essay.
Yes.
Yes, it was about chocolate milk.
Talk us through that and your idea for creating that as your personal statement.
So my personal statement was about chocolate milk. I was obsessed with chocolate milk my entire like childhood.
Bro, every time I see you at the dining hall, it's like chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. I still am. I still do like chocolate milk. But like gallons, like a gallon every 2 days. Like this is
you were running the bill.
I know. Chocolate milk was my life. I kept HEB like in business because I would just buy HEB chocolate milk. Wow. And so I wrote about that for my college essay, and I related to, at the time of applications and being so uncertain with where my life is going, it's easy to like doubt yourself. Like, even though from a young age I was like, oh, I'm literally gonna be famous or something like that. When it gets to that point where you see other people getting into schools and you don't really know like what's happening, because like some people literally had already decided where they were going before I applied to.
They had roommates selected, like they were done, and I was like, oh, I haven't submitted my application yet.
Yeah, and so by that point I was like, wow, really, what am I doing? And so I was and I hate thinking about it, but I was like content with the life I was living. I was like, honestly, I could see like myself, you know, staying in San Antonio, like going to UTSA and just like vibing, and that's respectable, but I don't know why I let like these years of me being like, oh yeah, like I'm literally somehow gonna end up like very successful, and then all of a sudden senior year I was like, I don't know about that. And so I was very afraid of change, and I didn't really want things to change, and I was like, honestly, like my life might be better if nothing changed. And so I wrote about that in my essay about chocolate milk. I related chocolate milk to my mom, and then I related my mom's impact in my life, who, like I said before, passed away, to like kind of reshaping my thoughts on change, and then like kind of how she changed me to like be more open to change. I'm saying change a lot. Count how many times I say change. But it was just about that. Yeah, take a shot every time you hear me say change. It was just about change, chocolate milk, and my mom, and how like now I'm unafraid of change, and honestly now I'm able to go on a podcast and talk about going with the flow of things because like of her influence in my life and that essay I wrote about chocolate milk randomly, which got me into Harvard. So it's like,
yeah. Well, I think with personal statements, it's very intimidating because I think for me when I was writing mine, I was like I haven't had anything crazy happen to me where I'm like, oh, I can capture that in a story. But I think like you can really just tie a narrative to like
A lot.
a lot, and also like your perspective at the time and like your
Mhm.
outlook on life and like the things
That's
that
what
have
they want to
happened.
see with a personal statement. It's like, just like, how do you view the world? And,
Right, like be a
like,
little bit intellectual, like
yeah.
share your candid experience. So in that essay, at any point, did you explicitly say like like I'm kind of scared of change, or was
Yes. Oh, yes. I was like, even now writing this, like, I don't even know if I'm prepared for change or, you know, can see myself changing at all. And then, like, it was actually a very tea essay. Like, throughout it, then I started, like, as I made, like, anecdotes and related and talked about things in my life, then I was like, maybe I'm not so afraid, you know? And it was a very
Ooh.
beautiful, like, cyclical story. Like, it was, like, a nice little narrative I had going.
Did your love for chocolate milk change?
So in my essay, I was one of the points in my essay I talked about when my friend gave me a water bottle for my birthday, and it kind of stopped me from drinking chocolate milk anymore. And that was like the first that I said that was like one of like the biggest changes that I've made in my life, and it's kind of like stupid to say, but it's like this thing that I've had since childhood, this chocolate milk, and now I'm like senior year is like time for change, and it's like something, you know, crazy that I never thought could see myself doing, and like college is something crazy that at the moment I can't see myself doing, but I'm willing to do it. So I talked about that, but my love for chocolate milk remains. I fear I did start drinking water because of the water bottle, and I said that,
You stay
but like
hydrated.
after like the summer and like when I came to Harvard and found out we had chocolate milk in the D halls, I will be drinking the chocolate milk. I'm sorry.
It was over. You were like, well, it's right there,
Well,
actually.
it's there. Sorry
Yeah.
that I said I wasn't gonna drink any more chocolate milk because of
I
my
lied,
water
Harvard.
bottle. I lied. I'm sorry. I'm drinking your chocolate milk.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful connecting something that seems so small on the outside, like literally using a water bottle, to being like, oh, that changed my perspective, or that like relates to something bigger in my life about going to higher education and leaving my family to an extent. And then I kind of want to start ending this little episode with your interview with the
My
Harvard
interview.
alumna.
Yeah, he was an alum.
Bro,
Alumnus.
alumnus. I forgot the
know.
singular.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just said alum.
The alum,
Harvard
yeah.
alumni. Yeah.
Talk to me about your experience there, because I know you said that was like the defining moment of your application.
Yeah, my interview. Oh my gosh, I loved my interviewer so much.
Do you stay in touch with them?
No, but
But
well,
they were good for what they
they
were,
were
you know.
no, and then we like met at the San Antonio Harvard Club like welcome party for like the new
Yeah.
admits, and so, but yeah, he's so sweet. Basically, and I don't know. See, me and Alyssa might. I don't know. Did she talk about this on your
No.
podcast? So it's weird because everybody, obviously, if you got into the school, I think everyone interviewed. Like
Yeah.
you can't. I don't think you can get in without an interview or like.
I think also most applicants get an interview.
And most applicants get an interview, like at least for like a bunch of like Chicago schools, New York schools, like everybody that applies gets an interview. But
it's not indicative of like, oh, like I have a chance. It's more just like you're
like
going
yeah,
through the
it's
process.
part of the process.
Yeah.
But it was weird because in Texas, I know people that applied to Harvard from my school and they didn't get an interview. I was the only one. And so in my brain I was kind of like, "Oh, like
They chose
does
me.
yeah, does this mean like I have a good chance?" Because like seeing these people not get interviews and then me get an interview, I'm like, "Okay, like what's happening?" And obviously I didn't know at the time that most people get an interview, so I don't know why it's like different in Texas or if it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so and it was my third interview, actually. It was my last interview. And I was like a chronic, still to this day, I need to lock in like non-preparer for interviews. Like, I think, you know, just going in candidly and whatever, I thought that would take me where I needed to go. And while that could be true, it did flop me the first couple interviews I had. I interviewed with like Stanford and MIT. Well, just like, I'm just gonna shake my head. And then when I was like Harvard, and then I connected like, oh my gosh, like none of these other people got an interview. Oh, it's my last one. It's literally Harvard. Like, I need to lock in. And so I just prepared like cute little stories I could relate to things, but I didn't like have like a fixed like script I was gonna
You were
follow.
looking to the side of the camera. Was it in person or online?
Mine was online, actually.
Okay, same. But you weren't like, you don't have like a notes list being like, let me just like.
Yeah, no,
have
I
this
did
on
not.
the
But
side.
I was like, I know like the general vibe of the interviews at this point, and like if he asks me something along these lines, I'm gonna talk about this, and like, but honestly, I'm just gonna let the words flow, and we'll see what happens. Honestly, with this podcast, girl, I'm just here and talking, like, and it's kind of fun. And so I went in, and he was so sweet, and we just ended up chatting about life, and I put him on Blanco Barbecue, which is his barbecue spot down the street from me, because he's from San Antonio as well. And we were just talking about his life, my life, like what I'm doing with my life and my outlook on life, my unique experiences. It was kind of similar to like the things I said here. Like I really just like laid my life out in front of him, and like in like a hopeful way, you know, not in a like, oh, this is my life, I'm so sad and I come from all these troubles in my, no, it's just like in a way that like, this is what happened to me, this is my story, and I'm going to use this in this way. And he really resonated with that. We emailed back and forth a little bit after the interview, and I was like,
with every email you're like,
I mean, I'm like, don't play. And so yeah, and it's actually crazy because he interviewed 3 people and all of us got in and we all decided to come. And it was like the first time like a San Antonio interview at least has done that.
Was he Alyssa's interviewer?
No, he was not.
Okay.
He was me, Sophia, and Ryan. I don't know if you know them.
I think I know him through Alyssa.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
What, the power he has.
Yeah, it was very powerful. And like I told this story to one of my friends, Leah, actually. Mm-hmm. And like her mom is an interviewer or like an alum, and so she like, it's like a volunteer thing. Like if you want to do it, you can. And so she does it, and she's never had a kid get in. And so it's like, it was a very rare thing. And I guess like they just resonated with all of us. So yeah. And you're able to request your like admissions file once you get in. And I remember I actually did it so fast because I hadn't even started school yet. I wasn't even a student at this college yet. It was during our pre-orientation program that I requested it, and they rejected it and were like, girl, you have to like at least like start classes. And so after like my first day, I requested it again and I got it, and I read what he said about me, and it was very powerful. And it was like, that's why I think I've never had imposter syndrome here, because I saw what he wrote about me, and it's like, honestly, yeah, like I do deserve to be here, you know? And so it's like it's like a full circle. But I loved my interview. I loved my interviewer. It was amazing. We just yapped. We yapped so young.
so younger.
we yapped so long that like the Zoom timed out.
And was it 45-minute cap?
Yeah.
That happened to me too.
But
it was kind of like a natural closing. We were like wrapping. Oh no, yours was like.
We were not done.
And so like boom, and it was done.
Yeah, and so that's why we were emailing after.
Oh my gosh. No. Wow.
And that's my interview story. It was pretty good. I just like laid myself out there.
I've met people where their interview like flopped, and I met people where they feel like that was kind of like the one thing that really showed like their character. And I think what is nice about Harvard and other schools that make it somewhat mandatory to do the interviews is that there's an extra screening layer beyond just, I think it's nowadays it's easy to fake yourself through an application, to be honest, right? Like you can write about stuff and like exaggerate it to an extent.
Right, those exaggerating words on a resume.
Yeah, it's like, it's easy, but you can't fake how you communicate yourself and express yourself and your authentic story when you say it. So that's what I think is amazing about like the application process of Harvard, is that they don't just stop you from like seeing your application to an extent. It's like they actually want to like learn more about you and how you communicate with other people. And that's why I think at this school the social scene is so, I mean, in terms of like club, I mean like parties and stuff, like maybe it's not the party place to go, right? But when you speak to people, they're not bots.
No.
And I thought I would come here and it's like everyone's like closed off and nerdy. And they're nerdy. If they're nerdy, that's great. But it's like in a way where everyone's social and passionate about something. And I think the interview has a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's preparing you for the future at the end of the day. It's like, how well can you talk to people and like connect? And I think,
and with AI coming,
it's going to be even more important now to like be able to just like form a connection based off words and speech and communication. So it's like, I think it's one of the most important parts of the application process as well. And it's like one of the most important parts of my life too, is just being able to talk to people. I think it's one of the things I'm good at. So it's like being able to have a portion of an application where it's literally you're just talking to someone is amazing for me. It could be some people's worst nightmare, But I liked it.
And when you joined the call, did you have the expectation, like, this is my 45-minute period to, like, make or break my life? Or was it just like, okay, well, today is, like, did you wake up that morning thinking, like, oh, I have my interview today, like, oh, shoot, I'm scared?
I low-key did. I wasn't scared, but I'm like, I knew it was gonna be important, and I knew, like...
After you're also flopping Stanford and my team.
After I was flopping every other school. So I'm like, obviously this is important. And it definitely can define my future. However, I was not nervous because I was like, I know what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. And I'm just gonna, do my thing and cook.
Yeah, I remember for, like, my interview, I also
your
had
interview?
No, I also had it online, and so I briefly looked up the alum, and she was a lawyer, so I kind of prepared, like, a few questions at the end, like, being like, but I don't think I even asked those questions, but anyways, so I did a brief research, and then I thought, okay, what's one connection I can make to Harvard? And I was like, Harvard, undergraduate women in business, period, that's it,
Yeah.
So there was really nothing else before that. I remember I was on a phone call right before, and I was like, oh yeah, I have my Harvard interview today, whatever, like, I have to get off this call, and I remember, like, I was very calm during it because I thought I had no chance.
Honestly, yeah, that too.
Right, there was, like, no, like...
YOLO.
Yeah, because it was just like, oh, this is part of the process, like, I'll try my best, but there's nothing this is not my barrier, like, my make or break point. And I think having lower expectations without, like, inhibiting your, like, experience is, as in, like, you don't want to have such low expectations where you don't even apply or try, but you also don't want to put that pressure on yourself. And as someone who doesn't, like, perform well under pressure, that was really good. Anyways, I had the interview with this woman. I'm kind of, like, eating up the answers, but the reason why I think I was doing well, beyond just the fact that I feel like I have somewhat good communication skills, is because I genuinely did a lot during high school. Like, I started, like, this babysitting and tutoring service, whatever, and it wasn't successful. When I spoke to her, it was, like, pretty new.
It was, like, up and coming.
But the thing is, like, I was doing it. It was authentic. Yeah. My parents weren't running it. No one was telling me what to do. No one had guided me so far. Like, and I would say that probably it's the same for you, where, like, you could speak about things, your experiences, your dedication to things, and it's just genuine.
Yeah.
There's no scripted answers. No one was telling you, like, this is the direction you're going in. And then I remember halfway through the interview, she stopped me, and oh my gosh, I also had Wi-Fi connections during mine. There were moments where I, like, froze out, and she was like, can you repeat that?
Oh.
And I was like, oh my god, bro, like, during my Harvard interview.
I would be freaking out. I would be like, oh, wow.
I was like, no, it's okay, like, let me just go back, like, 10 seconds. But she stopped me, and she said, you are one of the, she said, I have interviewed dozens and dozens of high school students. You are by far the best interviewee I've ever had. So I was
Beautiful.
Like, wait, me?
Little me.
But, I mean, that was very flattering, and I remember telling my sister that after, and she's like, nah, you like getting into Harvard. And in my mind, I was like, bro, that's not happening. Yeah. But it was very flattering, and I was like, oh, that's nice. That was nice for her to say. But I think when I also read my admissions report, and there was a part of that, I think she, like, wrote really highly of me. And I think even for Alyssa, too, right? Like, she told me that, like, her interview went really well. I think it gives you credibility of, like, oh, I'm meant to be here, because someone has spoken to all these high school students, and they saw something different in me beyond just, like, what I, like, wrote in my application. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like the interview is very overlooked. And I also don't want to, like, leave people with the message that it's, like, make or break your experience. But I think there is a skill of communication that is overlooked sometimes. And especially with people hiring private counselors and all this stuff. To an extent, they can help you, but they're not you.
Yeah.
And you need to know how to communicate and put yourself out there, because that's how, not even just getting into college, like, okay, that's great, but beyond college. It's all about who you know, not what you know most of the time. And not in the way where you're like, I need to learn how to speak well so someone can help me. But it's like, no, I want to put myself in the circle of people that I want to be like. Mm-hmm. And you have to speak a certain way to do that.
And that's just the way the game is
played. That's
played.
just the way it is, yeah.
Wait,
okay.
Yeah.
We've been here for a long...
What time is it?
3:20. So...
We were yapping.
We were yapping. And keep in mind, Christian was giving me a hard-ass time getting on this podcast.
I was like, you're only going to get 30 minutes of me, unfortunately.
He was like, I don't have enough for, like, 40 minutes, and now we're here for an hour. Okay. So let's start wrapping this up. And the last question... Actually, I'm not going to really give you a question. What is... I know you spoke about this a little bit earlier, but what is something that you wish the 15-year-old version of yourself knew? Like, going into high school for the first time, if you could speak to that version of yourself, what would you say?
For people watching the Olympics, did you watch Alyssa Liu's?
Yes.
They asked her.
Skater?
Yes, they asked her like a similar question, and I really resonated with it. They asked her like, "What would you tell your 16-year-old self now, like having won a gold medal?" And she's like, "Our age, I think, or like a year older," and she said, "I wouldn't tell that person anything because they know exactly what's about to happen." And honestly, I have a very similar answer. Like, I wouldn't want to change how my life occurred or like the way I perceived life. So I honestly wouldn't tell my young self anything because he'll figure it out. I mean, he did. And, I don't need an older me coming and telling me what to do because I'd get annoyed and be like, who do you think you are? So it's like, yeah, I really wouldn't say anything. Just like, if I had to, I'd just say like, keep doing exactly what you're doing.
And that's the message we're going to end on today. So if you feel stuck, if you feel behind, just think of the person, maybe even like 2 years in the future, coming back and being like, just keep on going. Because you're not going to see the trajectory when you're doing it, but then you're going to look back at those like daily actions or the rejections, the success, and it's going to piece itself together. Okay.
Oh my god, thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Okay, we're going to wrap up the podcast here.
Yay.
Bye, everyone. Bye.